because of the illegal immigrants coming across the border in Texas all this time, finally Texas cracked down on it, and they said, well, we're not going to allow this anymore, and we've been following that all, of course, the back and forth, the razor wire and the court cases saying you got to take it down, all that. But now the illegal immigrants have just gone to California, and the people running California say, this is great. Can we help move the razor wire? So sorry. There's some old razor wire left over here from previous administrations. Can we move it out of the way so we don't scratch your leg while you're walking by that giant hole in the fence? I exaggerate, but not that much. Old Friend County Supervisor, one of the few conservatives running any political office down there, Jim Desmond. Jim, how are you, sir?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing well. We miss you, but glad you're talking about this today.
No, well, I'm glad you're still there. I'm glad there's someone still there. And thanks for getting up early for us as well. So what have you seen increase-wise in San Diego?
Oh, just the number of encounters by Border Patrol has gone up dramatically. It used to we'd get about 7,000 encounters a month. Now we're getting that in a week. And just the other day, we had over 2,000 encounters by Border Patrol. That's at the San Diego border section. And the numbers just keep going up, and primarily because, as you mentioned, Texas clamped down. Governor Abbott has allowed his local law enforcement to enforce immigration law. Here in California, though, our local law enforcement can't do that. And we've rolled out the red carpet for illegals to come here. We offer them free health care. Even San Diego County, with our budget, we are paying for people, for migrants, attorneys if they get deported for any reason. And the fact that law enforcement here in California cannot enforce immigration law. So we just had, this video of a boat racing onto the beach and dropping off about a dozen people, and then somebody followed them with a camera and saw them getting into cars, a couple of cars, and driving off because they have no idea who they are or where they went. And the complaint for people was, well, why didn't the police pull them over? Why didn't they do anything about it? And it's because our local law enforcement cannot enforce immigration law. They can't even share information with immigration or with ICE or anything like that. So California's got the red carpet out and allowing as many people as possible to come across the border. And Texas clamped down. Arizona, we're kind of neck and neck with Arizona right now, but the numbers keep going up.
Wow. So this is why this affects the whole country, because it's, as I said, red carpet. So it's like, come on in. So the gates are fully open here and no sign of stopping. What you say law enforcement can't, is that a state law that says law enforcement can't get involved with illegal immigrants?
Yes, it's specifically the people didn't vote it in, but our legislature did it. I think it was like 2016 or 17. And it didn't have much effect at that point in time. But even if somebody gets let out of jail, and they're here illegally, they did some crime, they went to jail. It used to be that law enforcement could say to ICE or immigration, say, hey, we're letting this person out of jail. We know they're here illegally, and they would come and pick them up and deport them. Now they can't even do that. So yeah, this was voted in by the state legislature, SB 54, I remember it was, and now the effects of this is really coming home. And I'm glad people are waking up to it. Even though it's been in effect, people didn't really know about it, and now we're trying to get the word out that, look, this is what's going on, and it's our state representatives that voted this in.
We're talking to Jim Desmond. He's a county supervisor in San Diego County, and as we've been talking about, San Diego County is so massive, huge money, population, land, and there's only 5 county supervisors who are in charge of all this. And not to lament too much on this, but when I first moved to San Diego, all 5 of them were conservative, every single one of the 5 county supervisors. And now it's Jim and sort of one other guy are the conservatives amongst the 5. So tell me about that lawyer thing again. What were you saying with the lawyers?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, San Diego, one of my colleagues, and 3 of my colleagues actually voted this in to where we will pay for attorneys for anyone being deported. So if a migrant is going to be deported, and they don't have anybody to represent them. And technically, to be deported, my understanding is, a judge or somebody had to declare, yes, you've committed some crime that's so heinous, or, you really shouldn't be here, and you need to go back, you need to be deported. San Diego County will fight for anybody appealing that deportation order. So we will pay for your attorney, and that to me is just crazy. So,
what is the justification for that?
Regardless of why they're being deported, you're paying
wow,
by San Diego County residents are paying that.
Okay, all right. So there wasn't even written in there, hey, we'll pay for your lawyer, which is insane. I want to dive deeper on that. We'll pay for your lawyer unless you are being deported because you committed murder. There's no even
nothing.
Like it's whatever, any reason. That's great. So what is the justification that the Democrats on the county board of supervisors gave for that? Where did that idea even come from?
It came from one of my colleagues that brought it forward, and she decided this is what we should do, and unfortunately, I'm on the wrong end of a 3-2, and the three of them voted this in. $5 million a year we put in our budget as a line item that goes towards lawyer fees for people being deported.
Whoa! Wow!
Yeah, it's just.
So how is this happening in San Diego? Because San Diego has a wall. So how are so many people able to come across it? Like Texas, there were portions that didn't have the wall. You just got to sneak across the river or whatever. So how are people getting in to San Diego?
Well, there's holes in the wall, and Jacumba, which is a site about 60 miles east of San Diego. The wall is, there's mountains and there's a lot of terrain, and so that wall is not completely, solid of the entire way. Where it comes up against a mountain or something like that, instead of going all the way up the mountain, it stops at a side of the mountain as opposed to going the whole distance up and over it. So there's openings there at those ends, and I witnessed people coming right across, and I was out there early in the morning one time, and there's Border Patrol agent nearby, and we actually talked with the Border Patrol agent, and he said, there's a group coming if you want to, stick around for this. And sure enough, at the edge of the fence next to the mountain, people were just able to walk in, and the Border Patrol agent couldn't do anything about it. He was not allowed to stop people from coming across the border, even though they knew they were coming. They couldn't stand at the hole in the fence and stop people. All they're there for now is to process people once they're here. So there's no people can come across. Nobody's stopping them. Border Patrol agents are there standing by, but can't do a thing about it.
Wow. It's one thing to say the police officers can't. Okay, so you brought up this boat. So this boat, I think it was in Carlsbad or whatever. The boat comes on and all these people get off and they run right by lifeguards. And you're like, okay, what are the lifeguards going to do? I understand a lifeguard not tackling. Right? But then you mentioned there were police that were kind of, or could have been nearby or were or whatever. And you're like, oh, really? The police can't even do anything? Weird. But then you get to the Border Patrol guy. You're like, okay, well, so clearly the guy whose uniform says Border Patrol will be able to patrol the border. He can't even. That's unbelievable. But that's where we are now. So more on the county. Go ahead.
And when the people coming across, that used to be in previous administrations, people would run away from Border Patrol. Now they run to Border Patrol because they know they're going to let them in and if they and potentially grant them asylum. So it's a whole different dynamic now.
So I want to emphasize the California flavor of all this because that's my theme here. It's one thing if they come across Texas doesn't want them, but California does. So tell me about the migrant or newcomer welcome center that is being built in San Diego.
Well, we did have one for a short period of time, and the county was paying for it, and I was the only holdout as far as funding this. I thought if anybody should be funding it, it should be the federal government, not us. But we were for a period of time, and then just recently, the federal government gave us $19 million for this new migrant drop-off center in San Diego. It hasn't been built yet, but they gave us the money. And all this does is exacerbates the problem. It doesn't fix the hole in the fence. It doesn't allow any more security. It doesn't stop the boats. All it is a larger processing center so we can allow more people into California. It has nothing to do with security. So the federal government just gave us it's about a year's worth of money to operate a migrant drop-off center. And basically, it's going to be nonprofits and other agencies manning this drop-off center and getting people on their way. It's going to be, it can pay for transportation, can pay for people's airfare or bus fare, whatever it is, to wherever their final destination may be, and helping them with their travel plans, helping them, with shelter and if they or hotels if they need that. This is all on the federal dime, and this money is going to run out after a year, and then San Diego County probably is going to once again be stuck with that problem.
Oh, good point. Good point about the money drying up. Does anyone care? And by anyone, I mean and fellow politicians of yours. Is there anyone in California that cares about this?
Well, yeah, there's a lot, but it doesn't seem to be enough. And the one, I guess, good point about this migrant center is that it moves people quickly through San Diego County. So it moves people out a lot quicker than they would have otherwise. But
it's good for San Diego.
This is unsafe. It's unsafe for San Diego. It's unsafe for our country. One of the biggest problems is Border Patrol does not have the time to vet all of these people that are coming across properly. I've spoken with them, and they've told me the only database that they can check people against coming into our country is with our own database. They don't have access to the countries of origin, and so there's not enough proper vetting. So we're letting in people that we're not really sure what their intentions are, or what they might have been, or what crimes they might have committed in their own country. So we're letting them into our country, and then we're passing them as quickly as we can on to other places in the country. This is unsafe. This is unsafe for not just San Diego County, but unsafe for our country, allowing so many people in unvetted into our country, and we don't even know where half of them or most of them are going once they leave here.